Ah, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on. New year, new stream. Please stand by. Technical difficulties. So, as I was saying, hello. I have some camembert. Roaring 20's. Yes, it's the 2020's. So, to kick off a new year, it's time for a giveaway. Yes, I can see the sound is on because I've got the little meter is going beep beep beep. Okay, so the first giveaway is for mood dice. Now, these dice, I cannot convey to you the awesomeness of these dice. They change multiple colours according to the temperature of your body. And as you can see, before your very eyes, these will be going from a tiger's eye golden green to a deep blue from the body heat that I'm giving off here. And they have a sparkle and a luster to them and a depth of colour that is mesmerising. And not only that, the resin which is forming the colour coats on the sides here. See, the metal part is sort of a depression that the resin sort of fills up. And so it's got this rounded, almost non-metallic feel to the dice, but they are a gold, lustrous, metallic, rounded on the edges, not as heavyweight as you would think, and they don't tend to damage any surfaces because of these round edges, which is one thing that the D&D WoW company really excels at, is making just good metal dice. So I have some of these to give away to you in the form of codes that I'll be giving to you, some people. And essentially all you've got to do is the first people to write down what colour my hat is in the chat right now will be the ones that win the coupons. It's that simple. Get typing real fast. I'm waiting. Cormac, first in. Nicholas. Mixing Eccentric, Arthur. Congratulations. You've all won. Can't be fairer than that. Okay. I'm going to write those names down. And I'm going to... I'll need you to get in touch with me, because I don't know what your names are. And I need to actually personally give you the codes. Cormac Black. Or Cormac Regan. Nicholas Holmes. Mystic Eccentric. And Arthur Hutchinson. Okay, for everybody else, if you go over to D&D WoW and you use the code GlueStick100, all capitals, you'll get, I think it's 12% discount on all of the mood and metallic color shift dice, the color shift dice in particular. So there's the regular color shift dice, and that's the mind flayers and those sort of ones. And then there's the mood dice sets, which are coming out. For people who are Gold Dragon members on the YouTube channel, they know already what prize they're going to be getting from me. Also, coming up in, I think it's April, I said in my member chat tab thingy, I've got my 1 year anniversary of going full time on YouTube. I know it seems like I've been doing it for longer. It feels like longer for me too. It's just the pace of videos that I put out. But that is quite a monumental anniversary for me. So on that, I'm going to be giving away a very good prize. That is a custom hand-bound, higher quality, leather-bound and custom-made set of D&D books, core books, which you do not want to miss out on. There is only one set. One set is going to be mine, and one set is going to be the person who wins that prize. And that's it. Those are the only ones that exist in the world. And I'm loath to give away that prize because it's so good. But also, yeah. And the people who have been members of my channel for a year, the first 17 odd people or so, are getting some Mood D20 dice, which I have ordered, which are on their way over. And those are big size. That's this size dice that look absolutely spectacular. So I'm happy to give those away. Also, later in the stream, I'm going to be giving away some books. Books. Funny story behind that, but yeah. And so that's coming up as well. So hello, everybody. Not fair if you're colourblind. You can't go... Nobody's colourblind to the colour black, as far as I know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so good point there, MC Hermit. I do a special shout out to all of the people over in Australia right now who are suffering from just a horrific natural disaster in the form of fires like they've never seen before. Smooth jazz radio station. Nice. Hey, Dragon Lord. Gosh, there's so many of you in here today. Look at all you people. My analytics is off, though. I don't actually know how many are in here, strangely enough. Happy New Year, Jewel. So yeah, 2020 is going to be great. The reason why I've got the Boris Vallejo artwork on as the thumbnail for this live stream, if you haven't noticed, those of you who are asking, is because of this hoo-ha between Green Stuff World and Vallejo Paints. They're two Spanish companies that were having a tiff about trademark on a particular product, and Green Stuff World saw fit to copy strike a YouTube channel just for reviewing one of Vallejo's paint products that they have a problem with the name of. That is not how the copy strike laws work. It's certainly not how it's supposed to work on YouTube. I'm a bit upset that YouTube actually passed that without double checking it. They should absolutely double check every copy strike claim that they have. And it's very potentially damaging to a YouTuber to have a copy strike on their channel. You only get 3 of those and your channel will be shut down permanently. So it also affects their ability to make any income. So that could easily have been handled by Green Stuff World by them simply sending a message to the person. There are multiple there's the forms and things that you fill out to do that. So it's not a matter, I don't believe for a second that they did it in ignorance. I think they did it deliberately. They got caught out. The community backlash against them was very harsh and very fast, including me, and well deserved. They then issued a public apology which seemed very stilted, forced maybe, very woe is me, we're just a little baby company. And then Vallejo also published an apology for no reason at all. Vallejo was not at fault in this situation at all, and Vallejo publicly apologized for the whole situation on behalf of them as a producer, just because they were involved in it tangentially. So for that reason, Vallejo, you get 2 thumbs up. You're the real MVP. So that's why I'm honouring them with a bit of Boris Vallejo artwork at the start of the live stream. In Green Stuff World, you can go suck a dick. Sage and a cap. I like it. Have I ever been part of a desert nomad campaign? And if so, any advice? I'm particularly interested in mounted combat in this regard. Well, that's a good question, William. Yes, I have. multiple times across. So snowdrifts and things like that are also basically deserts when you think about it. I mean, you're surrounded by water, but it's frozen. So a lot of the time in frozen conditions, you get dehydrated as well. And similar sort of thing where it's hard to find shelter, and you're dealing with the opposite end of the spectrum of weather, which is extreme cold, whereas in deserts you have extreme heat. You can also have deserts of water. An ocean is a desert of water. When you think about it, there's no land around. You're just surrounded by water that you can't drink. So you will die of thirst if you're not too careful. With the... That's right, I did. And you can't type it because of the comment lock. So the thing with desert environments is they have very tight knit ecosystems of predators and things which capitalize on any sort of prey that they can find. There's a lot of burrowing creatures in deserts, so they'll quite often you'll have things which pop up out of the sand to get you, and the rest of them are basically just opportunistic predators or scavengers who will find whatever they can. So the predators are usually things which either lie in wait and ambush, or they'll pop up out of the ground and ambush you that way. Things that hunt down and chase things will do it by sight, not by scent, because it's very hard to keep track of a smell trail on a desert with the wind blowing and moving the soil all the time. So animals and things which hunt in the desert do it by sight and by sound. So you see animals with big ears, not only to dissipate the heat, but also because they are listening for things underneath the ground. Plants and things like that will have very deep roots. The soil in deserts and stuff is formed of regolith, which is once you get past all the sandy stuff, then there's a lot of parched, broken rock and stuff, which goes down for quite some way. Particularly in the Middle East, there's a lot of regolith before you get any sort of groundwater and stuff like that. Blue dragons, purple worms, all sorts of stuff like that. Yep, lots of reptiles, dinosaurs, you name it. My book of grudges. How's the mead coming along? The mead is doing great. It is currently in my wardrobe, where it has been since I first mixed it and took that snapshot of it when I was first mixing the yeast in. So those people who have been saying, get it out of the UV light. It's like, I know, dudes. I know. Okay, I worked in a biology lab. I know that you don't expose mead to, a brewing process to ultraviolet light. I'm not sitting it out on a shelf in the sun. It's currently sitting in my wardrobe, bubbling away furiously. It's brewing very fast, actually. The weather here is quite conducive to it at the moment, being in the middle of summer. Isn't regolith on the moon? Yeah. Oh, you mean instead of being on Earth? It's on Earth as well. It's a type of soil mixture. Hey, Irish Blarney. Nice to see you. Oh, the coffee mug, yeah. Just want to drink coffee, create stuff, and sleep. That's a good mantra in life. Axe poison! Hey, Trey. Yep, so you have a lot of big birds which can catch the streams of heat which are coming up off the desert. And so they circle very high. Condors, vultures of all kinds. Well, absolutely, it's the middle of winter over there. Hey, DeWall, thank you very much. A wager a dragon would be fascinated by your dice. Yes, absolutely. These are really beautiful dice. Yeah, just beautiful. They've got almost a purpley sheen at the moment. Just from the ambient temperature, they're slowly cooling down from my hand. I think that's the first super chat of the year, DeWall. Thank you very much. You want a prize? You want the Mines of Chult? Or how about Tactical Adventure Atlas maps? How about, here's a good one, Hardbound the Great Dale. This is actually legal Adventure League. And updates the Great Dale of Forgotten Realms. Or how about Pip Yap's Guide to All of the Nine Hells? Which one would you like? Your choice. Or of course you can defer and say, no, nothing thanks. And pass it off to somebody else. Isn't regolith the type of demon? Should be. Shall we do it that way? The next three super chats all win a book prize. How's that? Any amount of super chat, doesn't matter. Could be 50 cents, I don't care. First for the decade, yes, true. Come on, DeWall. Make a decision, man. Can we get a top 3 for December's Monster Mash? Actually, I haven't decided yet. To be honest, not a dog. Yeah, Mr. Eccentric, that'd be great, thanks. I'm always available for email. You can find my email address on my About page, I think. Pip Yaps is really good. Pip Yaps Guide to all of the 9 hells. Not the first layer, though, because that's basically covered in Descent to Avernus. So this is all the other 9 layers of the hells updated. No super chats. Nobody wants to win a book. Oh. Is there a Santa in D&D? Yeah, of course there is. There's always a Santa. Hey, Christopher! AJ, what do you think about starting a competition with a gathering... starting a competing with a gathering mission for a wizard? Happy New Year! Did you guys want a book? Just... I'll note down that you've got a book available if you want one. Seems nobody's talking to me. Gathering a mission for a wizard. Absolutely. Absolutely. I quite often involve wizards who are after something specific in order to, you know... Hey, DeWall, thank you. DeWall, did you realise that you've just won a book? That your choice of book? No? Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe Super Chats is not the best way to do it. I'm going to note you down anyway. So, DeWall, you've won a book. Christopher, you've won a book. Well deserved. Thanks for all the Super Chats, by the way. I've never actually seen Olsen spelt that way before. Oleson. And Matthews. Hey! Thanks, Peliderma. You've won a book as well. So DeWall, Christopher, Matthews, and Peliderma. If you can all contact me as well and let me know what book you want. You got first in, first served. So you got Pip Yaps Guide to all of the 9 hells, the Great Dale, the Unapproachable East campaign guide. It's really good. Adventure maps, tactical maps, adventure Atlas, which is actually a whole big bunch of like, I think it's like, how many is it? 88 ready-to-play adventures for all character levels that you can just literally just pick up this book and play. And The Mines of Cholk, which is also an adventure book, which is a bunch of adventures for characters level 1 through 16. Which, although it is set in with the Tomb of Annihilation in mind, you can also play it anywhere you want. Whoa, thanks everybody. Whoa. Happy New Year! Thanks! Yeah, I'm really enjoying doing the remakes. So there's going to be a lot of that this year. Book or a Sarok vid? So the Sarok vid is coming anyway. I'd say take advantage of that. You have those books. Go ahead and give it to somebody else. Dragons in the relationship to shinies. Okay, you're on. Alright, so I guess that would be the next one down the list, which would be Gadzooks. Gadzooks. You've won a book. Good going, buddy. So Christopher, Matthews, Paleriderma and Gadzooks, and Cormac Reagan, Nicholas Holmes, Mr. Eccentric, and Arthur Hutchinson. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your prize winnings. I like giving away prizes. Anybody who's out there and you want to give away some products, let me know. I'll give them away on my live streams. Though, of course, those are going to kill me with the post and packaging. But I think you guys have just already paid for the post and packaging. Thank you very much. Would I be willing to do more Eberron content? Yeah, maybe. How about this? How about I do specific things from Eberron and just throw them out there, like monsters and things like that, without doing a lot of the world setting stuff? Because I don't feel I feel kind of an imposter when I'm doing Eberron stuff, because I've never run an Eberron game successfully. It's never really gelled for me. I did try running an Eberron campaign, but it just didn't work out, and the player characters all died in a tragic fireball accident. So it just didn't really gel, and I could tell the players weren't really into it either. And that's on me. That's not on the Eberron campaign setting. Eberron campaign setting is justifiably very popular, but it just doesn't gel particularly well for me. My email is adforemperor@gmail.com. I'll write it in the chat below. It's very easy to get hold of me at all times, because I'm always on my computer writing scripts and stuff. New keyboard is new. There you go. So identify who you are on the chat, and just give me your address that I can ship those off to. And those of you who have won the dice, I'll just send you the code directly, which you can use. I will also put the link to the website where you can buy those dice as well. Yeah, it was a tragic fireball accident. So we had a spate of fireball accidents in our adventuring group with multiple different characters. One of them was just fireball in an enclosed space with lots of flammable goods, and then it was, in another incident, it was fireball into a cave that had arsenic crystals in there, which just killed everybody because of toxic gas pluming out of it. Yeah, don't shoot fireballs into alchemical labs, is what I'm saying. They had plenty of warning, and yeah, yeah. But my players do know that there are instances where the entire party can die, and that I will follow through with it. So, because without the occasional horrible tragedy, then without risk, there's no reward, I know, Mr. Eccentric. Isn't that great? It's totally fair. Like, if you're paying attention, get on your keyboard, type as fast as you can, and bam, there you go. Nice, quick, simple. Everyone has an equal advantage. Dales, yep. First in, first serve. So, Paleriderma, you get Dales. Yeah, thanks, thanks, Ian. Yeah, I do prefer the Forgotten Realms, obviously, because I know it so well, and I'm still learning it every day. Thanks, Arthur. Now, Juice, merchant campaign question. What races and classes would you recommend for it? Which D&D setting? Any more tips? I asked last year. Hellbook, okay. Matthews, you get Yip Yaps. So Christopher and Gadzooks, you get to choose between Mines of Chult and the Tactical Maps Adventure Atlas. For a merchant campaign, Minotaurs, seagoing Minotaurs are really cool. Lizard folk are fantastic, because I like the idea of like a marine iguana lizard folk that can sort of interact with both surface world and sea world creatures, because don't forget, in oceans and lakes of the Forgotten Realms, there are intelligent species that live there as well. It's their world, right? So very Atlantean, versus surface world type dynamic going on. And if you can form a trade pact between these two places, you corner a market and get very, very wealthy very quickly. Pearls are a dime a dozen to the aquatic races, but they're very dangerous for people from the surface world to go and get. So, you know, that sort of thing. Also, sea mines and things like that. So there's huge amounts of mineral wealth that aquatic creatures that can go mining in the sea depths can bring out diamonds and jewels and things like that. Don't forget, the surface of our world is mostly ocean that we have untapped. So underneath there's volcanoes and all sorts of stuff. So there's platinum and gold and silver and all sorts of stuff just rolling around on the ocean floor that we can't get at because it's just such a difficult environment to get to. Oceanic races don't have that problem. A sword of spell storing. Actually, there is a sword of spell storing. Is there any way that a Dragonborn can have a tail? Sure, why not? Yeah, do it. I mean, what does it really matter? I would say I would rule against a prehensile tail that you can use in combat and stuff like that. But just having a tail to counterbalance and things like that, that's fine if you want it that way. I mean, but why not just play a lizard folk? Honestly, give a lizard folk a half dragon ancestor, and give them a breath weapon of acid. Why not? Doesn't really matter. When will I do more aquatic races? I've covered quite a few aquatic races, Sakib. I could probably, yeah, I haven't done, let's see. So I've definitely done the Saruk. Not the Saruk, the Sahuagin. I haven't really done an in-depth video on merfolk or the Lacantha or things. I have done one on the Tortles. I suppose I should do some further videos. Sea Dwarves, yep. Mero. Mine of Chult, yep. So Gadzooks, that leaves you with Tactical Battle Map. Nice. Excellent. Sorted. Just email me with your postal address, guys, and I'll get those out to you. Will I ever do another Knoll video? I think so, yeah, because it's been a very long time since I did that Knoll video and I want to update it. You just woke up, did you miss anything? Yeah, all the giveaways, Robert, sorry. What's my viewpoint on a DM forcing players to play only human? Moist Noodler, that's really their business. I don't have any opinion on what people play in their games. There's not enough water-based classes. Why would you need specific classes for your water-based stuff? You've got backgrounds for that. So Sailor background, Outlander, that sort of thing. It shouldn't really be covered by... you don't really need a character class to be a sailor. You can be a ranger sailor. You can be a mage pirate. Like, look at Robillard from the Driss novels. He's a wizard, but he specialises in merchant marine battles, so ship-to-ship combat. He's quite capable of operating on the land. In the last the video, the Sea of Swords, in fact, which I'm reading at the moment, Robillard does go up on land and is actually quite instrumentally useful in getting the band get back together and them doing stuff in the Spine of the World Mountains along the coast. But, yeah. One of the things that really is highlighted in R.A. Salvador's books is when he gets the wizards involved, wizards really have that ability to just whisk people from one side of the world to the other. Their ability to transport from one side of the world to the other is such a game breaker when you think about it, much more so than other things. Even character classes, character races like Aarakocra, for instance, they have a flight ability, but they're just kind of as restricted as other characters in that regard because they get tired. They tire out and they land and do stuff. Not only that, but Aarakocra have a huge disadvantage in that they're very, very claustrophobic. They hate going inside structures and buildings, and that's one thing which really was the offset of their flight ability in the original when they showed up in the game. dumbing that down makes them unbalanced in regard to their flight ability. So, like in my games, Aarakocra sleep on roofs of inns instead of going inside rooms and stuff. They're that claustrophobic. They do not want to go inside of buildings because they feel like they're trapped, that they can't get away if something comes in a door or a window or something. They freak out. 120 in the chat. Nice. Yep, tattoo magic, rune magic, blood magic, crystal magic, all that sort of stuff. Seafaring minotaurs were a thing from the world of Kryn, I believe. They had a kind of a Roman-esque empire. How much lore exists for Biotopia and other non-lawful good planes? And enough that I could extrapolate and make pretty good videos on them. Like I want to talk about Arborea, Aravandor, Olympia, those sort of places, and Asgard or Isgard. And I'd like to talk about Nirvana, the clockwork Nirvana of Mechanus. It often gets a lot of attention, but there's other areas of Nirvana, the sort of lawful good-ish planes that aren't Celestia. And yeah, the chaotic planes are very interesting. What do I think of giving a group of 3 to 7 players a staff of weather control? I think be prepared for it in your game, and there's no problem. That's my stock answer for anything. If you always have an exit strategy in mind when you give characters powerful items. The DM giveth and the DM taketh away, but you don't want to take away arbitrarily. You want it to make sense and be logically consistent in the game world. So you can give your character anything as long as it has a set definition of use. So for instance, it's a magic item, but in order to use it, you have to crush these golden citrines up to activate it every single time. Or every time you use the magical sword's power, it's got a golden citrine which darkens with dark veins. So you're actually using up some sort of a resource, a magical resource that the player characters know, or the players around the table know is a limited resource. So they use it sparingly or when needed. If you give somebody unrestricted access to a powerful magical item and there are no consequences for using it other than them gaining enormous power, then that's on you. That's not on the item, that's not on the player character, that's on you as the DM not planning an exit strategy or a limitation strategy for that resource in the game. What's the live stream about today? The Roaring 20's. So we're starting off 2020 with a bang with a giveaway and just chatting about stuff now, really. And also talking about the mead. I was thinking about doing some sort of a competition for designing a mead label, but I decided that I'll just do it myself. I'm pretty good at designing stuff. The main reason why it's the label that I put up on the community tab there to show people an example of what my label looks like, and it's not very D&D at all, is because the vast majority of people in my life around me aren't really into D&D. Like my family and that I live with, they're not into D&D, but they would certainly be into my mead. So yeah, but we'll see. I do like the idea of incorporating the coat of arms with like some sort of a monstrous bee. That'll be fun. Daddy Githyanki, what did I just miss? Githyanki Doodle Dandy. I have done some videos on the multiverse as a whole and how all the planes fit together. So the cosmology videos is where I talk about that sort of stuff. And I think I've pretty much talked it to death. Like I can't really go into it more than what I have. So if you don't understand the transitive planes and you don't understand how the outer planes and stuff fit together or why they exist and things at this point after watching all of my videos, I don't know what else I can tell you, honestly. I could point you to the resources to read more about it. Planescape books and the Planes of Chaos and the Planes of Law and Order and things like that. Those are very good books to read. Gary Gygax's original theories about the elemental planes and stuff, for instance, and how they sort of have this axis going on. Yeah. The giants being the first that created fermentation. That was probably like the Saruk are probably very much into alchemy and stuff like that. So they probably brewed the first alcohol when you think about it. I mean, they're reptiles, so they make venom and stuff. So And after all, the Sarok created the Yuan-ti, and the Yuan-ti used transformative magical potions, so they probably made alcohol a long, long time ago. So they've been brewing ale and mead and wine before humans even existed. Mimics marvelous mead. This mead is a mimic. My advice on running a creepy mansion is include secret doors and portals, definitely, and have things which pop up randomly and things which have a sort of a set timer that will go off. Like it's the Poe, the chiming of the clock and things like that. Like if you've ever played cooperative games like Arkham Horror, for instance. There you have a set cadence that the game is, and you're kind of playing against the house itself. That the house is going to pop out something in a few minutes, and the players know it's coming, and the DM is warning them that it's coming, and then it escalates. And if you don't deal with the last thing that happened in the mansion before the next thing comes along, you're going to get overwhelmed, and then all of a sudden you have to start scrambling around and trying to find a way to get away from something. And that's where secret doors and passages and things come in handy as well. So you add that pace to it, that tension of having to move around, especially things that you don't know what they are and what they're doing, like squishy bits in the floor which suddenly move, or bulging, or sounds, or something moving through pipes and things. Beholder, nice. Oh, there is some cheese. Sorry. Just a bit of camembert. No blue cheese today. I've eaten all my blue cheese. 133 in the chat. Well, this is a very young camembert. It's almost chalky in the middle. Not used to that at all. You love the video on the hedge wizards. I'm glad to hear it. Aarakocra Cola. Samuel Aladrin's Summer Ale. Yeah, I wouldn't try homebrewing ale. No. God of alcohol? Well, the gods of the dwarves. I mean, literally, dwarven holy water is mead. Yes, Yuan-ti do sort of convert other people. They do. They turn them into these reptilian sort of servants. I've never played an Escape the Levels of Hell campaign. I know how I'd go about it, though. Tiamat's not really involved in the Blood War in a major way, no. She has got her own concerns with dragon supremacy. Your email failed in delivery. Try again, man. Or you can just get in contact with me on the Discord server. Just private message me on the Discord server. That works just as well. What are some of my favourite non-D&D influences? Books! Definitely books. Books and movies. Dune is my favourite movie ever. If anybody who knows me knows that I watch Dune every single birthday. R.A. Salvador's really good. Also, Gaunt's Ghost by Dan Abnett. Although that's Warhammer 40k, it still counts. Lord of the Rings, Krull, all that sort of thing. You know, I've got lots and lots of influences, just like anybody else. I can see those emails coming in. Thanks, guys. Beholder that can shoot honey out of its eye stalks. If you didn't know it was honey, you'd be so grossed out. It's like, why are you squirting sticky amber fluid at me? Ah! It tastes good. Ah! A lively live stream. I know it, isn't it? Thanks for the donation, by the way, Keith. Cade, I would say definitely, if you can get hold of the PDFs for Legends and Lore, that's a really good good starting off point for like Faiths and Pantheons as well as the other books that came along. So like a lot of the old second edition content and stuff is really good for that sort of thing. It gives you a good structure and framework for how to structure a pantheon and how the powers of the gods and stuff work, because they quite often explain things at the start of the book about, what are the powers of gods and demigods and stuff. They don't really talk about that in 5th edition enough, what the base sort of abilities of a demigod as opposed to a lesser god, as opposed to a medium level god, as opposed to a greater god. What are the power levels of those different beings? That's something that 5th edition is woefully lacking in. They have, like, the writers have got their agenda for the races and mythology of certain things, and they're laser focused on those certain sort of things which have an implied social angle to them, but they are woefully absent when it comes to the mythology of the monstrous races, for instance, and things like that. It's just like footnotes here and there. It's like, we need more. We need more concrete background material. Not only that, but we need that framework for making our own stuff. Like, if you want to just give us a glib little look at Magic the Gathering universe with Ravnica, give us the structure and framework. Don't give us specific details on the 10th district. We don't care about the 10th district. Like, it's fine if you're kind of forcing us to play in the 10th district, when really, why aren't we in Dominaria? Why aren't we on the world of Dominaria right now? Why don't we have a Dominaria sourcebook? Why wasn't that the first thing that you came out with? It's like my frustration on Netflix when I was like, oh, Adventure Time, and I started watching and I was like, wait a minute, and it was like season 5 and 7 or something, or 5 and 6 or something. I was like, start me off at season 1. Are you insane? Like, that's kind of like, I'm glad to see Ravnica. It's great. I love the Magic the Gathering lore and all the that stuff that brings to the table, and the fact that the company would support that because it's part of their intellectual property. But you're starting us off on Ravnica when you should be starting us off season 1 Dominaria at the start of the whole story, and then we can get along to the point where suddenly Ravnica makes sense. You know what I mean? Why start us off at season 5? Honey Elemental. Send you a link for Primal Order. Okay. Thanks, Chrysanthia. John the Herbalist, thank you. Weird question. I'm working on homebrewing a boss. What do you think of a Shadow Elemental would be like? Ooh, Shadow Elemental. So, shadow energy is not exactly necrotic energy, because you've got that template that can be applied to a dragon to make a shadow dragon. So, what you're looking at is taking the shadow from the D&D 5th edition monster manual and boosting up the power level essentially to the point where it's an elemental being. Expand on that idea of it being able to absorb and gain power from shadow. So it can exist outside of shadows, but it's going to be detrimental to it. Like it would go into shadows to draw up shadows and gain power, essentially regenerate or gain its mass from shadows. So it absorbs shadows around it to get bigger and bigger. I like that idea. Yeah. So use existing materials to save yourself time and hardship, and use combine existing templates. So use something like a lich, a proper lich, and look at the shadow and cross over some of those abilities. Dominaria definitely does have there's a PDF for Dominaria called. Is Plane Shift... No, hang on. Is Plane Shift multiple different things for different settings, or is it actually Dominaria itself? I know it's split up into different regions of Dominaria. Yeah, Zendikar, Innistrad, and Amonkhet. I didn't know there was one for Dominaria as well. I'm going to have to go and find that now. Yeah, we know that the Ravnica was definitely a calculated move on the part of Wizards of the Coast, and I'm glad that the people at D&D essentially ran with it because they made a good job of it when they could have just sort of phoned it in. It is actually a really good supplement. And you can use those creatures and monsters in there quite well, like the Cyclops and the Angels and things like that, and the variant vampires and stuff as a faction. Really quite good, and you can insert those quite easily into Forgotten Realms, for instance, if you had like a vampire faction or a vampire family. So all those could be a faction in Waterdeep, for instance, a faction of one of the Masked Lords, and that would really make a lot of sense when you think about it. You could have shapeshifters, who are interested in tearing down the order of things, and because shapeshifters obviously thrive on chaos. So, yeah, you could almost give a mana color to a lot of the different factions in Forgotten Realms when you think about it. Can shadows do chaos control? I don't know. I wouldn't really think so. I mean, what does shadow really have to do with lore or chaos? I would. That's the thing. I would like to like Adventure Time. I would like to watch Adventure Time from start to finish, but I've never been able to get into it without jumping in halfway through. And that's what Netflix did. And my frustration was, I want to watch Adventure Time because my friends like Adventure Time, but I've never actually watched it. I've never watched a single episode. But so I wanted to start off watching from the first episode. So I'm going to have to go and pirate it now and watch it illegally somewhere. It's like, if you force me to, I will. Your DM doesn't know your wizard's true name. I like it. It's on the DM Guild. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, fire giants live for hundreds of years. So did dwarves. Fire giants have the advantage of being immune to fire. So essentially they can sit inside a volcano and deal with some very nasty environmental effects in order to craft things that dwarves would find very hard to do. But on the other hand, fire giants, they spend a lot of time martially training and things like that, and fire giant communities are very small compared to dwarven communities. So dwarven communities have the advantage of passing on their knowledge more readily. Where fire giants have to do a lot of things by themselves. Hey, Spaceball. Monk is a spellcaster, range is a subclass, infused technomancy and artificer. What? Hey, Che, welcome. Yeah, what happens in the tavern stays in the tavern. Oh, that's interesting, Pant J. Gonna make a subterranean bee that is a mutualist with ropers, and in universe is how dwarves get their honey. Interesting. How would you trap or temporarily banish an ancient elemental titan or an old god? Convince them that they're doing it for their own good. Maple elementals. What's my favourite thing to come out of the 1920s? Slappers. Gee. The Charleston? I don't know. The fact that probably gender equality, honestly. Hello to Atlanta, Georgia. Any plans for a were shark or a secular video? Secular. Yes. Secular is a scary mamma jamma. Massive big shark god. It's like you're going from one layer of the nine hells to the other. The last thing you expect to see is a monstrous god shark. Yeah. So I'd like to get into that as well. Deep sea horror setting. Drinkable water is rare underground? No. It may be rare underground where you're from, but in the Forgotten Realms they have lakes the size of some estates in America. Massive, massive underground lakes. Have I seen the Mr. X video about the SKT? What's the SKT? I try and watch Mr. X's videos when I can. his videos are very good, and they're shorter than mine, and have some really nice production quality. And I like his accent. His accent's really good, easy to listen to. Particularly his latest video on some of the Elven magic, for instance. Oh, also Red No Blue has just released a video on Elven high magic as well, which you should definitely go and watch. Red No Blue's videos cover a lot of stuff that I didn't know, honestly. They're really good. Slappers, yeah. Was it slappers or flappers? I don't know what the... There's a certain branch of people in the 1920s. Zoot suits. Stock market in the early 20s. I do have a video on the 5th edition history of Eberron, yeah. They would probably have an undark fungi that stores fresh water. Is there an undead hierarchy? Not really. Like, in specific locations there would be, where you have a necropolis. But, yeah. Well, that's weird. I can see the subtitles popping up on my... captions is popping up on my video. Funky that stores fungi. Fungi. Vecna and Cass, yeah, the vampire Cass. Flappers, thank you. Slappers. Flappers, yeah. I wouldn't say the epic level magic was simple to cast. That's one of the other things. Like, if you look through the Book of Artifacts, for instance, these advanced D&D 2nd edition books, Tome of Magic, Legends and Lore, and Book of Artifacts are so good, honestly. They look like thin, but they're so full of just basic information. And one of the things that is in the front of here, which I want to talk about, particularly for patrons, because it'll have to be a patron-only video, because I'll be reading stuff specifically from here, is the nature of what an artifact is, how they're made, how they operate, how you use them as a DM, and also back in the day, mages had to recharge magical items. Like certain magical items, rings and wands and things like that, had charges that you would use, and charging a magical item would take hours and hours and hours for a mage to do. Like, they would be casting a spell for 18 hours in a row. Like, can you imagine being up and concentrating and not sleeping for 18 hours and casting a spell? So mages had that mental fortitude to stay up for a very long time and do nothing but cast spells. Yes, I agree with Mr. Rex on Storm King's Thunder being sparse on details. Yep, I do agree. I don't think I disagree with Mr. X on anything in regard to his D&D lore. Occasionally he will, he may make minor fluffs every now and then because he's going through, like, he's not double checking some of the stuff from its original sources on the Wikipedia articles and things like that. And I totally do that all the time. It's very time consuming to actually go and double check the sources that are quoted. Like, if you put if there's information on there and it's got no citation, then you've got to be very wary about conveying that to the public in a video on the lore, unless you state to them it's just my theory, or it's I haven't confirmed this, or whatever. So these days I take the research a little bit more seriously than I did a couple of years ago, which is another reason why remaking the giant videos is a very good idea, because the information is very well researched now, and I can back it up from actual sources. So yeah, I do enjoy when somebody comes at me in comments though with, no, it's not like that, and I immediately can just pull out the resources and say, quote this, quote this, quote this, page number this, publishing date this. You get a certain set. I have a certain set of skills. Man, it's almost time for me to go already. Boy, this hour has just raced by. It's getting to this point where the comments are flowing so fast I can't actually keep up with all of them. I haven't watched The Quiet Place, and I like the original version of Pennywise where it's a psychic spider. Yes, I imagine gnolls probably can do rituals to summon demons. They could do it with their blood. Gnolls are a result of demonic corruption of ordinary hyenas. That's the lore of where gnolls came from in the first place. And it happened a very long time ago. So gnolls were around back when giants were ruling the empire, sort of thing. So Yenogu actually stepped foot on Torrelitz at one point. Wikipedia is good for finding where the resources are, and once you get a sense for when a Wikipedia article is good or when it's not. But the Forgotten Realms wiki on fandom is particularly good. It's particularly well monitored by everybody. I've only added bits and pieces. What I do, the only thing that I've added on the Wikipedia for Forgotten Realms is I've added some citations to articles here and there. That's it. I haven't actually removed anything. Well then, yeah, no, I can keep up pretty well, Dragon Turtle. I'll miss things here and there. 166 in chat? Really? Good grief. Stay for 1 point... Okay, I'll stay for 1.5 hours. Why not? Yes! The spider Pennywise is best. Can you raise a gnoll to be a good person in the Forgotten Realms? There is cases in the novels, in the literature, where there are gnolls which are not evil. So yes, you can. Me personally, in my games, no. Gnolls will always be evil because they are driven by evil impulses. They are driven. Every pleasure circuit in their body is rigged towards destruction and death and murder, because they are corrupted by demons. So, no, in regards to how I run gnolls, they're always evil. If in your game you want them to be good, then go for it. Your game, your rules, your table, none of my business. Thanks, Ian. I do actually have mods in the thing here. So Ian's a mod and Gerbil is a mod. My following grows as I approach apotheosis. What am I going to be, the god of cheese and books? Oh, I'm okay with that. See, the problem with your comment there, Same Riser, was the actual phrasing itself betrays you. Can you raise a gnoll to be a good person? Gnolls aren't people. They are monsters. It's like, hello, I'm Mr. Gnoll. I just happen to look like a hyena. No, you're a cross between a lion and a coyote that got turned into a humanoid monster. You're still a hyena. You're not a human. You're not a person. Flins, even more so. Flins are they're the worst of the gnolls. Entitled watches that demand I stay. Yes, Gluminati. Yeah, Flins are still a thing. By that logic, tieflings should always be lawful evil. Well, depends. I mean, you've got Cambions as well. Tieflings are basically cursed at birth, but they were humanoids. They're part human, right? Gnolls are no part human. There's no part of a gnoll which is human. You can make a race out of gnolls that were originally... Oh, yeah, okay, so you can have a lupin, for instance, that gets turned into a demonic sort of werewolf type creature, like a gnoll. Sure. Thanks, Michael. No spoilers. Thoughts at the end of Mandalorian. Love your Titans video and your merch. Absolutely love everything about the Mandalorian series, and am really looking forward to the next season. Absolutely love The Witcher, and I'm looking forward to the next season. Absolutely loving the Dracula on Netflix that I'm watching right now. Really good. I'm watching a lot of things. There's some really good stuff coming out on streaming services right now that is absolutely just dynamite. I was sort of losing hope a little bit halfway towards the end of 2019. A lot of the streaming services were just sort of, ugh, but then it just really picked up really quickly. Regular null. Yeah, Flynn's are the leader types, basically. God of Cheese and Books. Daenerys, Ogma, yeah, I'd fit in with Daenerys and Ogma. Azuth. Let's bring Azuth back. Hello there, Elder High Elf Healer Miriella II. Gnolls aren't people. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be, I don't want to be a furry bigot, but gnolls aren't people. You can't have a half gnoll person. No. Can you learn the ways of the Myconid and create a druid circle of the spores? Yeah, sure. That's right. Ian is revealed as being red, no blue. It's true. Any kind of ideas on creating a deity that is inspired by Polynesian or Islander religions? I think there's probably resources out there for it. I would say pay attention to the people who are actually writing the material. Because obviously people from that culture have got a much better depth of information about it. A lot of the information about Polynesian deities and stuff is online, so you can look up that mythology and stuff yourself, and just research. All I would suggest is do the research and provide yourself with the best sort of stories and things. There's a lot of crossover actually between like Thor and Loki and Maui, in the way that folklore sort of works, because storytelling is storytelling. A lot of the cultures that have that sort of clever warrior sort of respect, like there's the respect for somebody's martial abilities, but there's also respect for somebody who can outwit their enemies and make a fool of them, essentially. So there's a correlation between Scandinavian mythology and Polynesian mythology in that regard. So in some respects, the stories of their deities share very similar virtues and tropes. So yeah, maybe it's just an ocean thing. I don't know, but yeah, I noticed that there was a lot of correlations between the stories of Thor and the stories of Maui. Flynn's are more like, I wouldn't say monk-like. So that they're more sort of whip-wielding overlord cult clerics. Demons aren't people, no. Yeah, you can definitely meet up with me in Indiana when I'm going to Gen Con this year. So if you're at Gen Con, keep an eye out for this hat, and I will be walking around. I don't stand out very much. I'm only 6'1", but I'm as wide as a dwarf. Which means I'll blend in pretty well in America at Gen Con, but still, I'll be around. Look for the logo on the back. I'm not going to be dressing up in disguise. I'll be going on brand. Demons wear people, yeah, exactly. I'll also be looking for other YouTubers as well, so I'll be hanging out with some YouTubers which I converse with on a regular basis. I had a promise from Crafting Muse, Vanessa Muse, that she'll be my bodyguard while I was there. So, and if anybody hassles me, they'll have to contend with her, because she will kick their ass. Campaign stylized for ancient Greek history, mythology, fashion. What playable races? Minotaurs, of course. Satyrs, maybe nymph, something else. What was the one that was sort of Spartan? Goliath are pretty good. Again, lizard folk fit in perfectly. Playable kobolds, also pretty good, like servants of Hephaestus. Goblins, Fomorians, Cyclops, obviously. Cyclops are Greek in origin. Satyrs, nymphs, sprites, fauns, selkies, mermaids, sirens, ghosts, playable races. Gorgons, Medusa, harpies, minotaurs, gorgons, hydras, dragons, giant lions. Oop, I'm missing out on super chats. DeWall, thank you. I want to see your take on Underdark Dragon version of Gollum, my color changing shiny. Well, the deep dragon, the trick with the dragons, particularly like the purple dragon and deep dragon stuff, is because they came out with multiple versions in multiple editions. So I've always found it really difficult, because it's always like, okay, what purple dragon are you talking about? What subterranean dragon are you talking about specifically? Because there's different versions that people like. Do subscribers get a special meet and greet at Gen Con? No. Subscribers just get all the other stuff. Like, subscribers right now get special access to videos that nobody else has seen yet. So, by the way, everybody, there's another Artifacts video which everybody who's a subscriber has already watched. Or if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. The Brain Stealer. Oh, yes, I've got to make a video on the Brain Stealer Dragon as well. I think I have that on my to-do list. Do I? April 26th is my 1 year anniversary of going full-time, so that's when I'll be giving away a custom-bound, leather-bound, custom embossed, with the Mighty Glue Stick logo on the back, the ampersand on the back, the Mighty Glue Stick logo on the front, the ampersand, D&D ampersand dragon on the back. It's beautifully rebound 5th edition core set of Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, and Dungeon Master's Guide, which I'll be giving away one set of to somebody on my my 1 year anniversary of going full time as a YouTuber, which is coming up on the 26th of April, the nearest live stream to that. Let's see, what have I got? I've got the Saruk, I've got the Gargantuas, I've got the Electrum Dragon, Barghest, I've got the Dragon, which is a crazy idea of mine, the Dungeon. Book of Wild Darkness, people have requested I do a video on that, and the Bannerloth, the Goddess Evandra, Fetchlings, Traps, the Ancient Nation of Imaska, Calamity Dragons, so there's quite a few Calamity Dragons to deal with. Some more information on Mechanus, the Parai, the Gear Spirits, Living Equations, the Moikno, Axial Dragon, the Clockwork Creatures, the Harpers, and the Zentarum as factions, Obox Ob, the Halfling, the Elves, Igwilv, Queen of Chaos, Celestial Hebdomad, the Spider Fiends, which I've been trying to get around to making for a while, Abeir, the World of Abeir, the Dungeon of Undermountain, and yeah, so I'll add the Brain Stealer Dragon to the list. It's a very big book. I have many pages in this book. Many pages. You better see me at Gen Con. I'm actually physically training for the walking around Gen Con. If you had to make a Pantheon template, what would it look like? I'd be very light on stats and just basically very heavy on mythology and detail and what the gods like and don't like, essentially, for the Pantheon. Things like what their clerics do, what their clerics believe, what the rituals are, and things like that. Because what the clerics do is the basis of what the gods are about, and vice versa. Super stoked for a massacre. Good. If you have a video on traps, you know what you will be asked in the comments. No doubt. Are Titans stronger than all types of mortal dragons under the age of Worm, Great Worm? Titans are definitely on a par. Like, strength maxes out at 30 and Titans are good at strength of 30. So it really comes down to leverage and body mass. But a Titan can pull a dragon out of the air. Like, adult red dragon is flying past, Titan grabs its leg and goes, "Roar!" and pulls it out of the air. That's how strong they are. Like, literally put a red dragon in a headlock and the dragon's just like ripping and shredding and the Titan's just like that strong. Traps can all be 36 genders. Sure. I know that I know certain traps which will take care of your gender real quick. Would a brain stealer Ulitherad dragon make some sort of a special elder brain? I think the problem there is that the elder brain has to actually absorb other brains, so it would have to be compatible. So I don't know. There may be alchemical problems with that. Thanks, Jimmy. You have a paladin of a volcanic god of destruction who is on their path to find out more about their gods. Well, Pele from Hawaii would be a good option for that. There's a lot of different gods that could fit that bill. What is preventing you from going to Gen Con? I'm flying from the other side of the world. Oh no, the Feyre are not the same as the fairies of the Feywild. No. They're essentially the elven version of a Cambion, so they're not like a tiefling, and they're bad. There's quite a lot of them that are immortal. Fatal Territory. I'm not that familiar. 75,000 genders. Yeah, well, my own inventions pop up when and where they do. You know, I come up with lots and lots of bad ideas. Titan or Titan? The giant species is kind of scary. The Titans that ruled the gods, well, they ruled the gods. Oh, well, yeah, so Titans from Greek mythology were the gods. They were the former pantheon, the former gods of the Greek islands when the Greek islands were invaded by essentially Europeans. So there were people that were living on the Greek Isles before the Greek culture took over the Greek Isles. So they were, and the like Kronos and all those other gods, you know, Atlas and stuff, were their pantheon. So they were their gods, and then when another culture came in and took over, they adopted that pantheon as the parents of their gods, and that is a theme that was repeated in England and various other places. So the common tradition was we're not just going to supplant your we're not going to ignore your faith because maybe they are real, we don't know, but we're going to incorporate them as the enemy of our gods that our gods vanquished. So essentially, that theme is repeated again and again and again. The Fomorians, for instance, were part of the mythology of the Isles of the UK before it was invaded by people from the mainland. So essentially, I think sort of like the Gaulish people moved over into there and displaced some sort of more Mediterranean people that were living in the British Isles. But it's a theme that's continually repeats itself in the ancient world. And that's where a lot of the mythology and stuff comes from. I mean, look at Christmas, for instance. Christmas is a perfect case in point of that. Who's Santa Claus? Who's Santa Claus? Is he a saint of the Christianity? No. Why is Santa Claus involved in Christmas? Because they supplanted a pagan mythology holiday with a Christian one. And so Santa Claus is incorporated into the whole, So you've got a nativity scene right next to a Christmas tree. See what I mean? And it's like, Jesus is the reason for the season. It's like, well, actually, no. It wasn't even born on that day. Doesn't matter. So that's repeated again and again and again through history, is what I'm saying. I'm not slighting any particular person's faith. I'm just saying the mythology follows a pattern. Is there any population guidelines for a setting like the Forgotten Realms? Yes, definitely, very much so. The Forgotten Realms is very well mapped out in population centres and distributions of things. Also, trade networks and things like that and the distribution of languages and things like that is also well mapped out, particularly in earlier settings books for the Forgotten Realms. If you go prior to the campaign setting, Forgotten Realms campaign setting. What is this? I think this is 3.5 edition. I believe. Yeah. So it talks about all the different deities and powers. There's 100 different deities and powers and stuff in here. Dozens of new races, feats, prestige. Like, it goes region by region. And it's got big maps like this, which talk about political boundaries in the Forgotten Realms. Like, stuff like that. Really good information in this source book for the Forgotten Realms, so it's a really well mapped out setting. Santa Claus is not an invention of capitalism. That's a slight against my culture. Thank you very much. Scandinavians and German folklore. Kris Kringle and Santa Claus has been around much longer than the Coca-Cola Company. Thank you very much. Father Winter is Odin. Yeah, Santa's not Odin, no. There's definitely relation to it. Really? It's in Skyrim. Interesting. So the average Forgotten Realm person would know about the pantheon, generally speaking. They'd know about different names of gods and things like that. They would probably stop at shrines and things like that and just pay the respects, or give a little bit of food or water or something like that in the collection bowls or whatever of whatever shrine they go past. Holy sites, they'd pay respects. Like, even if you were a farmer from the Dales or whatever, and you made a trip across the Sea of Fallen Stars, if there was a shrine to Umberlee on the docks or something like that, you would probably pay homage to Umberlee, because you're about to get on a scary ship and go across open water. It's something you've never had any experience for. So even though you don't worship Umberlee on a regular basis, you might, or Deep Seychelles or whatever, you might, give an offering so that they don't kill you. Good fortune sort of thing. So, yeah, but in regards to Ao, nobody in the Forgotten Realms really worships Ao, because he doesn't want them to. So it's kind of tricky that way, because there's no reason to sort of propagate that information. So I don't know how many people would really know much about Ao at all. Santa Claus is a druid, yeah. St. Nicholas, yeah. Yeah, the average person in the Forgotten Realms doesn't know that much about any one thing in particular. One of the things that Ed Greenwood was talking about once was the level of nudity in the Forgotten Realms is much higher than people expect. In the temperate regions, people will quite often go around bare-shirted, working in the fields and stuff like that, men and women. In Chult, for instance, people will just be basically wearing cloth for convenience because it's like hot all the time. It's tropical. So yeah, most people walking around Port Nyanzaru would be naked most of the time. Like in their houses and their homes and things like that, they'd be naked most of the time. He's above worship. Yeah, he doesn't need worship. The fly agaric mushroom, yes, tied into Christmas. Yep. If you had to stat Santa, would you? No, I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Illustray worshippers dance around naked all the time. They practice swordsmanship naked, for sure. That's fairly popular. Well, fairly common for drow to walk around, train naked in swordsmanship and things like that. And they really just wear clothing for status more than anything. Like the slaves would invariably be naked because it's damned hot down in the Underdark all the time. Santa has levels in Artificer. Well, obviously. Santa Claus is not Odin. Rudolph is too buffed. Well, I've run out of coffee, everybody. So it's really truly time for me to go. I haven't read Spellfire yet by Ed Greenwood. No, I haven't. I'm literally on the last book of the last few pages of the last book of R.A. Salvatore's Companions of the Hall series, The Legend of Drists. It's going to be bittersweet finishing this book today. I mean, I've read quite a few of them over 2019. It was pretty good effort, I think, reading all these books. That's quite a few books to get through. You don't want to see a naked slave goblin? Sure. Time to shut her down. Powafwi. That's right. Powafwi. What are you wearing? My Powafwi. Sounds like somebody mispronouncing phylactery. My Powafwi. Out of coffee? Oh, well, I'm out of a cup of coffee. Yeah, not just geothermal activity. I mean, literally, it's the heat from the core of the world is heating up the planet down there. Hasta la taco, AJ. Star Wars canon, nice. I've yet to go and see the Star Wars movie. I want to get that done. So if there's any delays in videos at all this week, it'll be because I'm going off to see Star Wars. Lich with a lisp. Yes. Alright, everybody. That's me. Catch you later. Have an excellent evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you may be. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Congratulations again to all those prize winners. I'll be getting those prizes out to you quickly. If not right now, it'll be within a half hour, an hour, or tomorrow. Yeah, hit me up on Discord. Okay, bye.